is your weekly leadership program, Good Governance. Day to day. Alright, thank you for keeping it ITV. This is Good Governance. I'm your host, Francis Musakali. This is a show that focuses on leadership, governance, and politics in general. And today, we are privileged to host two amazing gentlemen on set. One of them is Leonard Barasa, the Executive Director of Justice and Peace Center, and George Okinyi, the Justice, also a member of Justice and Peace Center, and also leads the local urban forum within the county of Trans Nzoia. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'll start with Leonard. What exactly does the Justice and Peace Center do?
Justice and Peace Center is a non-profit making organization, a non-governmental organization established in 2013. And it works in 3 thematic areas. One of the thematic areas is promotion of good governance and human rights. The second thematic area is under peace building and conflict mitigation. The third thematic area is access to justice for the most vulnerable within the community. And lastly, a cross-cutting thematic area is management and preservation of our environment.
And George, when you talk about local urban forums, what should we know? What is the most, or what's important about local urban forums?
Thank you. Good evening, viewers. As you said, I'm George Okinyi. I'm the chair of Local Urban Forum. Local Urban Forum is a network of CSOs networks. That is the civil society organizations network. We came together with one purpose.
Right.
Is to look at the issues of governance, to contribute to good governance in this county as a network. And therefore, what we do is that we look at the issues of civic education, issues of budget making process, look at issues of social accountability work, so that with all these 3 components, then we be able to realize what we are entitled to in the Constitution.
And so the two organizations are non-governmental. They are not part of any government. Are they non-governmental or governmental?
Ours is non-governmental and non-profit making.
Yes.
We don't make any profit
Yes.
in our organization. We basically get our assistance from donor partners who actually supports various projects that we will have initiated for the benefits of the citizens within and without the county.
Right. Yes. Local forums, is it best a community-based forum, or is it purely a non-governmental initiative?
Local Urban Forum is not really a non-governmental organization,
Right.
but it is a network of several civil society organizations operating within the county.
Right.
So it is a forum.
Yes.
And it can be registered, of course, yes, but maybe as a network, maybe as a CBO, a community-based organization. But as we stand now, all the members work on their own thematic areas, but we come together at one particular time and discuss issues of governance.
Yes.
We can be able maybe at a time to engage, to have an engagement forum with the county government officials, both from the county executive and county assembly,
Yes.
so that we get the feedback of what so far has been achieved in terms of governance in the county.
All right, part of their mandate is actually to create events that people can meet and discuss things about governance. And one of them was Katiba Forum that was organized recently at Turkan Hotel, and this is what's transpired. Take a look at this.
Most of the time, what people are saying is things are supposed to work this way, but somehow they're working that way. In other words, that the people who are supposed to be doing their job are not doing the job the way the Constitution says it should be done.
We have come here to discuss with the local community about their views about how successful the Constitution has been. As you know, the Constitution was adopted only about 9 years ago, and it is a Constitution with a very large number of concepts, arrangements that are very important to all of us in this country. So this is one of the first places we've been to discuss how people in different parts of the country think about how useful the Constitution has been.
Ya Wakenya na Katiba Institute na viongozi wengine na mashirika mbalimbali tunaangalia masuala kwanza ya ile arm inaitwa the executive, ambapo rais ako na ile nguvu sana nzito, na yeye mwenyewe ama yule rais hawezi pata kuangaliwa kama anafanya kazi vizuri. Unakuta pia katiba haijaangalia vizuri kwamba iweke kiwango mwafaka ya kuangalia na kupigana na zile vita za ufisadi.
Nitauliza one specific article. Nani anajua article 37 inaongea kuhusu ni
All right, and welcome back. So part of what was discussed there was mostly about governance and the Constitution. So when you look at the Constitution as a leader, do you feel that some of the loopholes can be easily corrected, or is it something that will need to take us to another referendum per se?
I was lucky to be in that forum, the Constitutional Conference.
Yes.
That was meant to audit
Yes.
the 2010 Constitution. And this conference was organized and facilitated by Katiba Institute.
Yes.
When we were in that forum, it came out clearly that we have a very good constitution, the Constitution of Kenya 2010. But then, what became a challenge as it came out from the conference was that the implementation of the same has become a problem. And again, adherence to the same document has become a problem, or has become an issue, or has become a challenge from from our elected leaders. And therefore, some of the gaps that were identified by the people present, one was that if you go through through the document, you will find that there are some sub-articles that are left hanging. All the mandates are left to the Parliament. You get to hear that Parliament shall, Parliament shall, Parliament shall, and therefore from the author, from the convener of the original proposed constitution, that is the Bomas draft,
Yes.
that is Professor Yal Shagai,
Yes.
he said that this constitution that was promulgated is so wordy, and at the same time, the people who worked on it at the last stage left some of the things hanging, leaving all the powers to the parliament. And therefore, these powers that were left to the parliament, now they leave out the citizens without contributing to those sabbaticals. And therefore, this was a gap that was identified. Number two, what came out clearly from the conference was that the constitution has benefited the elected leaders. The Nanjala, Mama Nanjala from county government of Trans Nzoia, has not really benefited from it. Looking at chapter 11 of the constitution, that is devolution.
Devolution, yes.
Because this is what people talk more about. Under the devolution, we have the president of the county.
Yeah.
Under the devolution, we have the county assembly
members,
where legislation process is supposed to take place. But if you take out the audit of the performance of the county assembly, you will find that the rating is low, because we look at the bills that have been debated upon and passed and assented to become county government related acts.
So Leonard, what do we do in cases where we do not have leaders who are performing? How do we move from such a situation as this?
I think it is well elaborated in the Constitution on how to probably recall back some of the leaders that have been elected. There are recalling clauses in the Constitution of the MCA, of the MP, and we have processes for impeachment of the governor if he's not performing, and even the president, where the Senate has to decide. But I think the only problem that we have is that Parliament has made it so hard to recall our leaders back. And I think that is where the problem began, and that's where the rain started beating us as Kenyans. Kenyans wanted somebody, if he is or she's not performing, can be recalled back. Right. And then they have another person. But the same guys, as my colleague has said, they actually were left with a lot of powers to make laws to ensure that the recall of the MPs can be allowed. But how do you send mbwa mwitu kukushikia kondoo? I mean, it's them who are protecting themselves from being recalled. So what kind of laws do you think they have put in place?
Right.
They have made it very hard for Kenyans to do that.
One of the key things that your organization involves itself in is environmental sensitization and the protection of the whole thing. So one of the key issues that has been trending in the country right now is the Mau resettlement. And I want to bring you on board on this because people are complaining that, look, we bought the land and we have valid documents we are good buyers of the land, basically. And yet we are being resettled. So why should we be resettled? So the question becomes then, is it important for me, or rather for you guys or the government, to conserve the forests or to make the people happy?
Thank you. I think one of the most important things for us as Kenyans that we need to know is, why was Mau conserved? Why was Mau there? I think Mau was gazetted as a water catchment area.
Right.
For the purposes of ensuring that our country can continue surviving in other years to come for the future generations. But I think along the way, there is the issue of corruption. When somebody says, I have a legal title deed,
right,
and the Minister for Environment says those papers, according to the investigation of the government, are not legal papers. So how did they acquire them? So the issue of corruption comes in. And when you're buying land, especially for those people who are buying land, they say that ignorance of the law is no defense. If you buy land without you knowing who is the owner of that land, if you have taken the case to court, the judge to say, or to prove, or to tell you that that land you acquired through corrupt means, because you should have done the proper process of finding out. Because I am quite sure when you listen to the conversation that is going around, people are always saying, we bought this from this, we bought this from this. This land was conserved, so it was a government land. Did they buy that land from the government? So there is a whole issue of corruption, and I think all Kenyans should support conservation of the water catchment areas. You look at ours in Trans Nzoia, we have one of the major 5 water catchment areas in the country, and that is Cherangani. Cherangani is almost gone.
Yeah.
And look at Trans Nzoia is an agricultural county. We have been known for agriculture, but we are not good in terms of irrigation. We use rain-fed. So if we don't conserve our water towers, in 5 years to come or 10 years to come, will Trans Nzoia still be an agricultural country? And before, when we were in school, we were being told that Kenya is an agricultural country, which has depended on rain. So if we leave the trend to continue the way it is, I think we will never sustain our agriculture.
George, just I think it was last year, the county government started resettling people in Cherangani and part of Kibomet. But it reached early this year and efforts just stopped. So do we look at it as a double play of the county, or is it that, oh, maybe the county, so maybe let's feel for our people, let's just give them their land. It's, after all, they say it's their father's land. So is it a double play, or should they just be, it's their land?
Thank you. I think I want to respond a bit on the first question of Mao.
Yes.
For me, my answer is Mao should be conserved.
Right.
Because we need what? We need food. We need to grow cabbages. We need to grow mahindi. We need to grow everything. And all this depend on water. And that being a source of water to so many rivers in this country, it should be conserved. Number 2, resettlement as the processes. Who is this that is being resettled? And being resettled from where? And then where do you resettle in Borna? The land that you want to give out, how did you acquire it? Was it a public land? And then if it is a public land, or if it was a public land, then what process did you follow to make sure that when giving out this piece of land to Mama Nanjala, then she will be very comfortable and she will not be moved away from that piece of land again. And therefore, what happened in Kibomet that you have just talked about, my thinking and my understanding is that the county government did not follow the right procedure to settle the people where they wanted to settle them. And that is why the whole process flopped.
I want to take a short break, but when we come back, these guys are going to talk about their how the NGOs themselves are involved in the county's financial participation, and how do you mobilize youths to be involved in the county's financial participation. That will happen after the break, including they're going to talk about the latest ranking that happened of the counties, where Trans Nzoia County, as most of you would assume, is number 37. Yikes. We'll be right back after.